for Petersburg to reclaim our health. You know what I mean? From the soil to our stomachs. So it might be in the form of actually farming and gardening like we're doing here at the Petersburg Oasis. It might be in mobile market, just putting us in a position where we can reclaim that power and that control over what we're eating, where it's coming from, and who's getting money.
Nice. So, are you originally from Petersburg?
Nah, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right. So, how long have you been here?
Close to 15 years now.
Okay. What brought you here?
I went to Virginia State University, went to Boston, up there for a while, ended up coming back to teach in Oakville, Virginia, and when I decided to go to home with my family, Petersburg resonated with me, raising our babies.
So, you've been back from Boston for the past 15 years? Okay, cool. Why the passion for agriculture? Did you go to school for it? Like, what's the background there?
So I was mentoring a group of young men from Peabody Middle School. Brown situation happened. Raised with Mike Brown, and we were identifying problems in our community, but then at the same time trying to find solutions to those problems. And the first problem or challenge we identified was the fact that we're experiencing food apartheid. And the first solution was a community garden. So we took our front yard, we got rid of the lawn, put 25 beds there, flipped it into a community garden. And I mean, that was about 10 years ago. We just been growing ever since.
Okay, so for those that don't know what a food desert is, can you educate them?
Yeah, so just to put it out there, I usually use air quotes when it comes to the food desert because it is by design. And that's a conversation that extends into what redlining is and things like that. But the USDA defines a food desert as a place or a community where you have to go over, I think it's like 3 miles, 3.1 miles to get access to healthy food. So just to give you an example, if you're familiar with Petersburg, just ask yourself how many grocery stores do we have in Petersburg, right? And the answer is one, Food Line. So a population of 30,000 people, we have one grocery store. So there's a lot of people in this community that have to take a bus ride or have to drive 10, 15 minutes to get to that local grocery store. And then just being honest, when you get to that local grocery store, the pickings in that produce section are slim to none. So we have a lack of access to nutrient-dense food, which makes us a food desert.
Okay, so it's based on mileage to having access to healthy food. Does Walmart count as a grocery store?
Yeah, it has a market aspect of it, but it doesn't count as a grocery store. Exactly.
We only have one.
Yeah.
Do you know how many grocery stores we have to have within a certain population density?
I'm not sure. I mean, just looking at it, imagine how many grocery stores would we need so that people could walk to the grocery store and go grab apples? You know what I mean? So how many would we need popped up? And it doesn't have to be necessarily a grocery store. It could just be a local market that offers that, nutrient-dense produce. Yeah.
Okay, so how long since you created the mentorship program have you been doing the community garden?
So we're looking at about 10 years now. Yeah, probably running up on about 10 years now. So we started with that first community garden, which was the Petersburg Oasis Community Garden, and we decided to name it the Petersburg Oasis because we live in a so-called food desert. So we were saying, hey, we're going to grow our own oasis. We're going to design and develop our own oasis in this so-called food desert. And then from there, it turned into us doing community gardens on vacant lots, partnering with local apartment complexes and doing community gardens, and more recently partnered with the Petersburg City Public Schools and doing school gardens.
Okay, and of all the challenges that Petersburg faces, on a more personal note, how come food desert, healthy food resonated with you and your family and your time? Because a lot of this is volunteer.
Yeah, so initially it was because I was a single father of 2. So trying to make sure that I could spend time with my children, but also trying to figure out how to feed them well without running out of money. So the solution was grow myself. So we got to a point where my children and I were eating in our front yard 2 or 3 days out of the week, which cut the grocery bill down, which improved our health. It was an opportunity for us to get out there and kick it with each other, exchange energy with each other. So now I'm getting time, quality time with my babies, and at the same time, I was get positions, getting jobs, working for the local farmers market, working for the mobile market that Petersburg had, working for the market that Petersburg had, which gave me exposure, gave me experience, and then that gave me confidence to seek the entrepreneurship route. You know what I mean? So I've always called myself a social entrepreneur. My only issue with it initially was I didn't know how to generate funds. Because like you said, I was donating the time, I was just giving it. It was all just pure passion. So now we're at a point where here at the Petersburg Oasis Youth Farm, we offer tours, we offer educational experiences. We have a program called How to Survive in the Food Desert, where youth do a 10-week program with us, and at the end of that 10-week program, they're certified as junior master gardeners. So now we're in a position where we can actually make donations, actually pay for that program, which makes it so that I can continue to use my time and energy to dedicate it to this, but at the same time, we can also put some money in the pockets of the youth that come here. So, and that's also why we got the point that Petersburg is growing. Why we got the nonprofit going, because we realize that food access, food sovereignty, climate justice, social justice, all of these words, like, they ring a bell, and because they're ringing a bell and they're an issue that a lot of folks in the nation are recognizing, there's grant money out there. So now we're trying to be able to pull in those grant dollars so that we can build an infrastructure here, build a system here in Petersburg where we're not just educating, but now we can empower people. You know what I mean? Get that economic growth going.
So talk to me about Petersburg is Growing, the nonprofit. Is that something you founded? Did you collaborate with somebody? What's that?
Yeah, so it's something that I founded, again, out of necessity. Everything that we've done from that first community garden to this 5-acre community farm has been out of necessity. You know what I mean? Like, I keep my ear to the streets, so and I keep the other ear to my own heart. So when I hear the community saying, hey, we need this, or we would like to see this, and then my gut, my instinct, or even deeper than that, God is telling me, hey, I need to see this out of you. I need to see this in you. I need to see you doing this. When those two things meet, we hit it. So I was getting tired of people coming to the farm, hearing about the vision, and then saying, and when I say people, I mean like large organizations with big bags, saying, oh man, we love what you're doing, and we want to support it, but you got to be 501c3. You got to be a nonprofit. And it was like, okay, I just kept hearing that, and we intentionally were not trying to be a nonprofit because of the stigma that comes along with that. I come from education background, so when you heard about a nonprofit, it was like, okay, here's another organization with a whole bunch of money, just trying to say they're doing something with the money they got because they got to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of, the credibility was compromised sometimes. But I realized with us, we did it the other way around. We started off, putting it out there, doing what we could with what we had. You know what I mean? And now that we have the nonprofit, the credibility is there. So so I decided to go ahead and get a 501c3 so we can get access to those grant dollars. To bring more players, more organizations from Petersburg to the table. That's why Petersburg is growing. Anybody or any organization, any individual that is about the growth of Petersburg, they belong at that table.
Awesome. So what do you want people to know that maybe didn't even know that this existed? Like, is this land that you purchased? I mean, we're right here in the neighborhood. Like, what's day-to-day life on the farm?
Yeah, so first thing I want you to know is this is your farm. So this is the Petersburg Oasis Community Farm, and I am super intentional. I was super intentional about that name. It is under a community land trust, right? So it's owned by the community for the next 99 years. It has to be used for agriculture, right? So I want the community to know that this is ours. You know what I mean? The land is ours, the space is ours. I want the community to know that the quarter acre that is called the Petersburg Oasis Youth Farm, that is for you. That is for you to come and grab you a free book. Come grab you some collard greens from grandma. Come learn how to grow. Come do some mental wellness, mindfulness. This space is here. This 5 acres is here for the next 99 years. It has to be used for agriculture. Let's go ahead and train up the next generation of growers. So I want the community to know that first, that this is you all's. The Petersburg Oasis Community Farm. And even the other 4 farmers who are commercial farmers, they are growing. They are sowing and growing for you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're going to sell some of their produce, here in our home, off of that produce. And I want them to know this is a place that they can come learn and they can come grow. It is under community land trust, which is owned by the Central Virginia Third Province. That is another nonprofit, but we are represented at that table, right? I got a seat at that table, and I represent Petersburg. So there's nothing said, there's nothing done that doesn't come to the ears of the
commercial growers? What do they grow?
They grow a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got Tasha, cut flowers, house fresh bouquets coming out here that don't cost you $12, $13 at Food Lion. We've got Brother Obar, who's raising chickens, raising pigs. We've got Brandon Riley, who's doing indoor grows with shipping containers so that we can grow year round. So everybody's doing their own unique thing, but it's all under one vision, and that is growing for Petersburg.
You know me. I think marketing. I think awareness. Like, you know, how do you guys, who you guys partner with to let the community know, you know, and have that steady flow of visitors? Where can they find you outside of being online and when you see the truck, obviously? But like, you know, do you have any partnerships throughout the city where, you know, your branding is visible and it's like, you know, come visit us or anything like that? Is anybody even supportive when it comes to something like that?
Yeah, so we've got, let's see, we just recently partnered with House Foundation, the House on Market Street. You know what I'm saying? The big brother Chris. We just partnered with them so that we can collaborate on developing that ecosystem here in Petersburg. Big organizations like Anthem have made impact investments. We were able to get things like the truck. We've got JJD Heart Foundation. We just flow funded them, you know, about $10,000 to help them continue to do what they're doing in the community, but also as a way to bring them to the table so we can do it together. But yeah, as far as like Petersburg Area Art League has partnered with us. They came and did one of our Sow and Grow socials and plan on doing more with us. But as far as like actually putting the brand out there, the marketing out there, not yet. You know what I'm saying? Not just yet.
That makes these are conversations I have with people off camera, because I love to see brothers on their own dime and their own time putting in the work and, you know, doing the work before, you know, I met Tyrone just in happenstance, and, you know, I met him when he was growing his yard. So this thing is where it's about to be in the next few years. You know, it's a difference between people that come here and they see opportunity and exploit Petersburg, people that really genuinely are committed. They live here. They want to help, and they've shown the time. So, do you have any partnerships to deliver your produce to local restaurants? You know, I've seen a lot of other community gardens do that, where they have a plethora of produce, and, you know, the community doesn't come and get it in time. Like, do you have any partnership like that, or would you be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, yeah, but right now, like I said initially, we wanted to go to the people. So before it goes to a restaurant downtown for somebody from outside of Petersburg to come spend money on it, I want to make sure that the community of Petersburg is fed well first.
Mm-hmm.
So once we're beyond surviving in the food desert, and, you know, once we get to surviving in the food desert, then we'll sit back down at the table and say, okay, now how can we thrive in the food desert? Right now that we're straight, we're straight as individuals. We got our family straight. Like we're good. We got access to local produce, nutrient-dense produce. Right now, let's take this excess and get it to these local restaurants. You know, do we want to develop our own community grocery store and put it there? But then we can start talking about leveling up. But my thing now, you know, hitting that next generation of growers, hitting the babies, and hopefully we bring the rest of their family in. You know, we CVAC, Central Virginia Agrarian Commons, the board that I sit on that holds the land trust here, we had 80 acres in a million. So like realistically, if we talking about like that pipeline that exists for the youth, the pipeline now is school to prison. That's the pipeline that it's been around for forever, right? We're at a position now where we can get a kid second, third grade who's into growing or into marketing or into sales or customer service, right? And we can introduce them to this space of agriculture and agribusiness and agritourism and just hold their hand, mentor them, even healthcare workers, potential healthcare workers, right? Them understanding that food is medicine. We can hold their hand and guide them through right here on the land. And they can come to a point where they say, hey, Cherry, man, I done outgrown this youth farm, bro. Like, these little beds that you got me doing, I need more. And we can send them over to the incubator side and get a quarter acre. After they outgrow that, they can take it up to a million, get 3 or 5 acres. And by the time they get out of high school, have an actual agribusiness going. So now we're talking about generating wealth, not just health as well, but now we can generate wealth as well. So we tap into the local school system. We've been getting a lot of love from the local school cohorts because they love spaces like this. The local churches who have summer programs. We just got like 75 Little Light certified as junior master gardeners last summer because of those local churches and the Boys and Girls Club. So just organically, as the kids are finding out about us, as adults are finding out and realizing that the space is dedicated to the youth, the door is open. And we're actually doing a fundraiser now where we're raising funds with the produce that we're selling to host a summer program called Cultivating Futures, which will be a 10-week program where youth will be here from sunrise to sun up, and they'll get half of the day working on the farm. The other half will be working on visiting rural farms, doing mental health, mindfulness activities, but getting them to community developed that's around agriculture.
I like that. Yeah, you know me, I grew up on a farm. I don't know if you knew that about me, man. 200 acres.
Yeah.
We didn't have produce though. We had animals and cows, pigs, chickens, quails. We had my grandfather was a gardener. So 2 generations ago, all the folks of that generation, that's what they did. And then they migrated to DC for opportunities and went to Howard and stuff. But when I grew up, the farm that my grandfather and his brothers, 200 acres out in Buckingham County, they built the house on it. They built the barns. They had chickens. They had cattle. I love that we got all these new terms in our generation calling it what you call it? Agribusiness. You know what I'm saying? It's farming. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make it sexy for the next generation to want to get into it, but it's a lot of hard work. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to do both, to sit here, you got to tend to this stuff. You got to be here 7 days a week. Animals got to eat. The produce has to be watered. What's your team look like? What's your squad like? Is it all volunteer? If somebody wanted to get involved, what's that look like?
It's the community. So for that exact reason, like you said, it's work, but so is life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That life is work. You know what I mean? Tending to the plants, tending to the animals. That's an experience in motherhood and fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's an experience in love. Period. You know what I mean? Like if you intend on having a partner and loving them, you got to know how to pay attention. You got to know how to tend to their needs. You know what I mean? So it gives you an experience in that. It's an experience in energy, right? When the kids come out and they kick it with the bees, you know what I mean? They come in sometimes with a fear, but then they recognize if I come in peace, the bees come at me with peace. So these are life lessons that you can take and you can implement to improve your quality of life and your experience in this thing that we call life. But yeah, it's local teams. I'm waiting on 2 to come now. One from Matoka High School, another one from the Governor's School, who's actually our farm manager. We have a volunteer group. If you hit us up on Instagram, the Petersburg is growing. We have a volunteer group called Many Hands for Light Work, and that comes from the Haitian proverb, many hands make for light work. So what we do is we make this farm work light work. It's a community effort, right? So we put the work in. We all make bread together. We break bread together. We grow it together. We eat it together. So we make this light work. And then once we got this locked in, we go visit our other local farmers because we need them. We're not going to be able to feed the whole community on just 5 acres. That's just true. You know what I mean? We got to go support our rural farmers, our farmers with 200 acres who need that help. So if we can, get that group to understand how to do that and feed their passion to do that, then we take them up the road to the rural farms and we put that work in for them. Right. And that way everybody eats, pun intended.
But on this level, your level, the leadership level, who else is on your team?
Yeah, so
I heard you say you have your board. Do you have any other instructors, any other what's that look like?
So I've got my mentors like Duran Chave Davis, Ron Finley. That's who I go to for guidance on things like this. I just established a relationship with Brother Chippy out at Park Heights Plantation in Baltimore. These are people who have navigated this space, who've done their thing in a unique way and been authentic all the way through it. So when it comes to how to move in these spaces, I go to them. I look to them for guidance. I got my family. We homeschool our 4 children, so they're about to pull up any minute now. They're about to pull up any minute now, and our 10-year-old is our farm manager, our 9-year-old is the garden manager, our 2 7-year-olds are the livestock manager, and our dog trainer. And hopefully we can get to a point where they can train up the next youngin that's going to manage this space. And then just the team of volunteers that we have. We got volunteers coming from Richmond, like our brother Larry. The people who don't even come to the farm and assist, like like Kelly Evans, who just sees our intention and connects us to opportunities to organizations that help people that are going on. So it's really just been something that's been growing organically. People are seeing like the passion, they're seeing the purpose, and then they're saying, hey, I want to use my passion, I want to use my skills to add to that. And we need to volunteers and the family and the community. Is there anything else that you want the community of Petersburg to know about the future of P.L.U.G? The future of Petersburg is growing. You said the summer program's coming up. Like anything else you want to leave them with before we wrap up? Yeah. Just remember that we're here for the growth of Petersburg. I mean, it's in everything that we do. It's in everything that we say. It's the Petersburg League of Urban Growers. Petersburg is growing. So if it is about growth, then we are about it. And we're going to be 100 about it. We're going to put everything that we got into it. And in saying that, when you visit the farm or visit any green space that you see, when you visit any place in the city, actually, if you see a potential for growth, you ride down Farmer Street and you see that tennis court but don't see tennis nets, you see a potential for growth, put that out there to us. You know what I mean? Like, trust and believe, we see it too, and we're putting it out there to the city, right? But put it out to us, that way we know who we can pull in so that we can show up in numbers, so we can show up in community. And you see how we spell community with the unity in caps, right? We can show up with a united front, so that when we say, hey, this is how we see Petersburg growing, people actually hear that. And then if it falls on deaf ears, that's fine. We'll put our hands to it and we'll make it light work. But I just want people to stay optimistic, you know what I'm saying? Stay hopeful, because Petersburg is growing, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Okay. Did you give the address here?
Nah, so it's 535 Beach Street. That's BEECH Street. If you wanna,
I almost drove by it, so we must have left. It's right there.
And it's right next to Pleasant Lane Elementary. You know what I'm saying? And for our elder brothers and sisters, the old Jeb Stewart is right next door. So if you pull up to Pleasant Lane Elementary and still can't find it, just roll your window down and you'll hear the rooster eventually. And we're right there. But 535 Beach Street, Petersburg, Virginia.
Thank you, Tyrone. I love what you're doing. I love you. You always are a positive light. I love that you're showing these kids, hard work and determination. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for supporting this brother. Definitely go to the website. You see him at the farmers market downtown, or you see him riding around. Just give him some love. This is hard work, and he's been doing it, on his own time, and this is what leadership looks like. You know what I'm saying? People that are just out here in the mud, getting it in. So thank y'all, Black Petersburg, for watching this interview and reading the article, and more to come as always. Love you. All right.
Appreciate that. Come on, Kay.